Good evening, parents. My name is Jim Gary, and it's my privilege to teach your son or daughter in my honors Civics and Government course. So the purpose of this brief video, really there are three. First is get a little information about myself to you, also a little information about the course, and then sort of my plan in how I'm planning to sort of conduct class in this sort of like new virtual world as sort of we move through the next couple months. So first, a little information about me. I am an Abingtonian to my core. This is my 22nd year teaching at the high school. I'm a lifelong Abington resident myself. I grew up in Glenside and now currently live sort of near McKinley Elementary School in that portion of the township. I'm a 1995 graduate of the school district myself. For the first time, my three kids are spread out across the three different levels of the Abington school district system. My youngest is a fourth grader at McKinley. I have a seventh grader just starting the junior high this year. And my son is actually the same age as your son or daughter. He's starting 10th grade to senior high with me this year. So deeply invested in the Abington school district system. Just a little extracurricular information about myself. I've been pretty involved here over my 22 years. I've coached a bunch. I was a baseball coach at one point, softball coach. Did a brief stint as the golf coach. As my kids have gotten older and their sports schedule is a little bit more involved, it's kind of harder to put this time commitment in to still continue to coach. I'm still very much involved extracurricularly. For the last 15 years, I've been the co-director of student council at the school and also the co-director of all the clubs and activities. So still very much involved. Also, a little additional education information about me. Haven't really ventured far away from Abington. I did my undergraduate work at LaSalle and received my master's degree from nearby Arcadia. In terms of the course itself, I like to tell the kids at the beginning of the year that they traditionally haven't liked social studies classes in the past because they found that it's a lot of like memorization of dates and names, that this is not going to be the case in this class. We're not very people and date centered. We're a lot more process oriented in this course. And the other thing is the beauty of this course that it's super relevant to their lives. It's not a current events class by nature, but everything that we talk about this year, they can actually see reflected on like the news and hear people talking about. And I think that definitely makes things more relevant to them that they learn in this class. Also, in a presidential year, election year, it's a great year to take this course because of how relevant a lot of this material is. The key components of the class are really sort of like how did our government form, how does it work, and then a super important part is how does the government impact them, and then how can they participate and impact the government. And I think that's really the most vital component of the course. Just a little information about my virtual learning philosophy. It's a picture of my classroom in S113 in the senior high, which has been my room for a long time and I dearly miss. But to the best of my ability, I'm going to try and replicate what we would normally be doing in S113 in sort of our virtual classroom. If you notice, the desks are designed to be like in pods, and on an almost daily basis in my actual classroom, the students will be working in groups. Not for like long-term group projects necessarily, but every period to interact with a couple of their peers. And the same thing is going to happen in our virtual classroom. Every class period, I plan on having the students at least work in Zoom breakout rooms for a small portion of the class period. I think this has a couple benefits. It allows them to establish a more personal connection with some of their classmates, which I think is even more critical in this virtual environment. And it also allows me to hop from room to room and sort of gauge individual understanding a little bit better and to also establish a connection with them. It's easier when I'm only dealing with maybe 3 to 4 students at a time compared to all 30 students on like the screen. Also, one of the changes for the students this year are the longer class periods, the 80-minute classes. So my goal is to try and switch up our activities about every 20 minutes that we're doing in these class periods, just kind of keep them engaged and involved as we kind of go through the periods. And also, I told the students at the beginning of the year that this was not going to be perfect, especially at the beginning, that we were going to have technological glitches, we were going to have lagging audio, difficult time connecting, and that I didn't want them to stress about that. So one of the things that we're going to do is whenever I present new material, I'm also going to have it accessible to the students via pre-recorded videos so that if they're having a hard time logging in or they're having a hard time with the audio or whatever the case may be, there'll always be a place where they can go and at least get the basic information from each class period. So hopefully that alleviates some of their stress and concerns. The keys of this course to being successful, I think, are really three. The first is to keep up with like outside reading. That'll make up a large percentage of their outside homework, which is to keep up with the readings in the textbook, which allow them to participate more in class discussions and things like that. Also to try and remain as organized as possible, which I think sometimes can be more of a challenge in a virtual or digital environment. And I'm going to try and set up Google Classroom so it's as organized as possible for the students. Also, all of the assignments will be posted on Skyward. And though you don't have access to Google Classroom, you do have access to my class website, which I sent out in sort of my back to school letter at the beginning of the year. And one of the features that you can utilize, as well as your son or daughter, is there's a calendar feature that basically has all of the students' class periods and the assignments that are upcoming. So it's important for them to sort of stay up to date and organized with kind of what's going on in class, and then also to definitely reach out and ask for help. Sometimes that can be a little bit more intimidating, I think, in an environment like this. But for them to let me know if they need extra help so that I can provide that extra assistance. Normally that would involve them just stopping by my classroom before or after school and letting me know they need help. But I told them that's still an option. We can still have virtual meetings in smaller groups in which I can provide any extra help or assistance. And then one of the things I'd like to say to you is thank you very much for your patience and your support. As again, a parent with 3 children in the district, I understand this is not an easy endeavor, but I appreciate your patience. I appreciate your support. And if at any point during the course of the year you have a question about what we're doing in class, or just really a question about anything, please don't hesitate to reach out via my email address, which is on the screen. And I'd be more than happy to get back to you. Again, thank you very much for your support, and looking forward to a great year.